Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 21 Motorcraft Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford. Ryan, in the spring, you led a race high, 148 laps. You won the first two stages, and then you wound up 12th. You enter Sunday's AAA Texas 500, just 6 points behind Kevin Harvick. What do you and your team need to do here to put yourself in a position to advance to the championship 4?
I think just have a solid weekend like we had in the spring race, and just try to finish it out better. We kind of got behind there, and I actually slid through my box the last pit stop, which put us back. So just try to have a good solid race, and I feel like that's the best thing that we've can do, and just try to cut back on mistakes like we have been really the whole playoffs. We haven't really had huge mistakes. We've just kind of been consistent and been able to get good finishes out of it. So coming to a track which has been decent for us in the past, and the mile and a half stuff has been really good for us. So hopefully we can have a solid weekend and a good run on Sunday and put us in a decent spot going into Phoenix.
Gotcha. We'll open it up to the floor. Just raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. Let's start with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Chase just left here, and a lot of people are talking about what went down last week, but how do you carry that all forward? How much do you focus on what other young drivers do and what your choice would be in the same situation, or how you would react in the same situation?
I thought he handled himself really well, to be honest with you. We actually rode home together, and we talked about it a little bit, and he handled himself great, I thought, whether it was after the race or interview, and stood up for himself like he should have. And, he did a good job. He's mature beyond his age, and that's something really, really cool to see. And he's that that guy. So I don't really think about how I would have handled the situation just because I wasn't in it. I had my own deal going on, but I think he handled himself great. And I'm sure he's makes him. It's not good for me because it makes him hungrier than ever, and he's going to go out and run really great. So, but no, he handled himself great watching it, and I think that really speaks about his character.
Do you think you young guys got to stand up for yourselves to show that you can't be pushed around?
I think so. I think you go through a little bit of hazing, just like any sport or series when you come in, you're a rookie, and he's running great in the playoffs and contending for a bunch of wins. And we've been pretty strong. They've been a little bit faster than we are, but I do believe that we have to stand up for ourselves and not get shoved around. There's a respect you have to show, and I respect a lot of really every one of the drivers that we're racing against right now, but you can't get pushed around because it's not going to stop if you let it happen. So you got to be respectful, but at the same time, you're not just going to let someone go push you around. You have to stand up for yourself.
We'll go to Bob, and then we'll go to Mark Garrow.
Bob Parker, CSPN. Speaking of getting pushed around, were you and Harvick mad at each other, and were those jabs playful jabs, or were they a little bit less than playful?
Yeah, obviously we weren't happy with each other, and then we all, both of us had our conversations and what we were upset about, and I felt like we handled it fine. It was a stern talking to, but I have a lot of respect for Kevin. He helped me a lot when I first got started back a handful of years ago, and just Martinsville racing pretty much, and we had a talk, and I think we're fine right now. I'm sure we're over it, and those were just to reassure that we were good. So,
Mark Garrow, PRN. Ryan, when you made it into round 3, did you kind of circle Texas as well as you ran here in the spring, going like, okay, that's where we could lay one down, a trip to victory lane, and make our way to Homestead? I
didn't really circle it. I just, you look at the round, and we run pretty good here in the spring race, and the mile and a halfs are obviously good for us. So I knew. I was confident that we would hopefully come and run well here, but honestly, you don't know. You don't know. You could run out. You could come here and run 20th all day. You never know how things can play out or how your car is going to be. So, I like coming here, and I think we'll be pretty decent, but I'll have a better idea here in about an hour. But I just kind of go one race at a time. Before Martinsville, my main focus wasn't Texas. It was Martinsville and trying to get out of there and have a good run, and then we go into next week. So just try to do one race at a time. I don't really mark down each track that I'm looking forward to going to more than any other ones, because then I think you take away from the upcoming event. So
let's go to Joey.
Joey Barnes, Motorsports Tribune. Ryan, a couple months ago, you kind of alluded to the Memorial Day double and maybe doing that. I know this is a little off the rails, but with that Team Penske connection, if I could just get you to elaborate a little bit on your interest there.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. It's something a lot of respect for the people who've done it. That's a tough day of racing. That's 1,100 miles there, and not mentioning the plane rides back and forth. And when Kurt did it and when Tony did it, I thought that was really neat. So that's something I've always wanted to do, and hopefully it would come up one day and I could do it, but maybe down the road. So Penske Group's pretty good at the Indy 500, so hopefully I'll get that chance. But the interest level is really high. I'd love to do that, just to say we were a part of it, and I was able to race there and at that event. So
Let's go to Matt.
Entering Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. Entering the Martinsville weekend, Brad Keselowski had talked about how that was a must-win race for his team to advance to Homestead. Given your success here at Texas, do you share his sentiments that some race this round, whether it's Texas because you've been good here, or even next week at Phoenix, is this a must-win scenario for you guys too?
I don't think so. I don't really think it's a must-win for us. I think we can come out here and have a solid run, and Phoenix hasn't been our best track, but I feel like we can put together a decent race there. So I don't mark it down as all or nothing. Like if we don't win this race, there's no way we're getting to Homestead. I just don't really look at it that way. I just want to come and do the best that we can here. And if we win the race, great. If not, we tried our best, and hopefully we get a good finish out of it. Then we'll move on and figure out what we have to do for Phoenix. But I don't think this is a must-win.
Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ryan, so the Harvick situation, was that then just a case of Martinsville racing, or would that fall in the category of what you were talking about, where somebody taking advantage of you and pushing you around?
I think it was just Martinsville racing, to be honest with you. We were struggling at some point. Well, the issue that I had was the first time he started running us over, we were trying to pass somebody, and I can't go anywhere when you're beating my bumper off and I'm trying to pass somebody. So, and then after that we were struggling, and that's when it happened again. But I think it was just two things of it's Martinsville, but the other thing is we're in the playoffs, and I'm not gonna just let somebody go. Especially someone we're racing in the playoffs, we need to get every point that we can, especially when you're in this round. There's so many good cars. So I don't think he was really pushing us around, being a bully or anything like that. We was just really hard racing, and I've seen that plenty of times over the years through that place, going there or watching it on TV. So there was really nothing personal. It was just two drivers racing hard.
And then last time here, you won the first two stages, and then the fateful pit call or strategy or whatever. Have you guys talked about what went wrong last time, how you might approach this race differently than that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Really, so what happened in the first race was I think there was a caution with like 2 to go in the second stage, and we decided to stay out and try to win the stage, and we did. And that set a lot of us back. It set me in the 48. Actually, he was able to work his way up to the field and win the race. But it set a handful of us back there in the field, like 25th. We were really far back, and I think we worked our way back up to 6th or 7th, and then I slid through my pit box on the last stop, and that hurt us. But we have talked about what we would do differently a little bit, as far as if we want to stay out and try to win a stage or set ourselves up for the end of the race. And honestly, I look back at it, and I would have done the same thing. I agree with Bolins, my crew chief, and what his call was. A, because stage points are so important, especially at this point of the season. And B, it's not like none of us who pitted in that group got back up there. Jimmy got back up there and won the race. So I thought it was the right call. Just things just didn't work out for us. But you talk about strategy and things like that. If there is a caution at the end of one of these stages, what do you do? And that's kind of just situational stuff of how many cars are coming in front of you or behind you, and it's almost a kind of a in the moment call. But you try to plan for it as much as possible.
Let's come up front to Lee Spencer.
What do you know about the car you're racing this weekend?
It's pretty similar to the Kansas car we had, similar build and things like that. It's not the Kansas car, but it's one pretty close to that. So the car is pretty good at Kansas. So hopefully we can make it just as good here.
And you think Harvick would have been as gracious if you weren't both Ford drivers?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously, we all try to work together. Our goal is to try to get at least 2 Fords in the final here, and I think that helped it maybe a little bit, the way we raced each other. It might have been not as friendly if we were if this was last year, but I think that might have helped a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're just racing, and we're racing hard. But I'm sure that didn't hurt.
go to Chris.
ChrisKnighthitchens.com. Ryan, do you know how much Xfinity racing you'll be doing next year?
I don't know. I don't know. We haven't sat down and released our schedules yet, or what Brad, Joey, and I are going to be doing, and what the other driver is going to be. We don't do that till middle of the off season.
Yeah, but running the Xfinity races, do you think it's going to help you for the playoffs, especially like running tomorrow's race for Sunday?
Yeah, it's definitely going to help. So I'm in the Xfinity car this weekend at Phoenix, and I think it does help. I like running those races a lot, and especially at a track like this, where it's it's newly repaved, and the track changes constantly throughout the race, and you can really get a good idea which car's going to do, and it's similar times. So I feel like it does help a lot, and I know the rule changes. I don't know 100% of what the rules are next year for Xfinity and Cup drivers. I know they cut back races, but it does help, and I enjoy running them whenever I'm allowed, or they'll let me run. So.
Well, all right, Ryan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.